Hello and welcome to Simple Worship Conversation, the morning program with Shannon Moore. And this is our first Wednesday. This is the first time that we're airing on Wednesday instead of Sunday.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Little midweek time with Shannon Moore.
Midweek time,
That's
and
right.
this is Lea McCracken.
Hey guys.
Tell them what you do.
I'm the Associate Chaplain for Disciples and Church Relations over across the street at TCU.
Ordained minister.
Ordained minister in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ.
Member at University Christian
I am
Church.
a member here, as well as the whole McCracken clan.
Mm-hmm. And attenders of Simple Worship.
Yes.
Regular attenders of Simple
We
Worship.
are. We're big fans.
Now we're on Zoom.
So fun. Had our first one last week. It was fantastic. If you have not been yet, it is a great way to start your Sunday morning.
All right, 9:30, Zoom.
9:30.
Get on the website for the link. All right, so because in Simple Worship we are doing the narrative lectionary, which gives us sort of a broad view of, the Bible.
Yes.
We are in the Old Testament,
We are.
and today we're going to be looking at chapter 15 in Genesis.
Not a light reading at all. No.
Not a light reading. But in chapter 12, God called Abram, who would later become Abraham, but still at this point is Abram, and called him to a new country, a new way of life, and promised that he would make of him a great nation, or that God would make of him a great nation.
Sounds like a covenant to me.
Yeah. So here we are, several chapters later. A lot of stuff has happened. So you'll have to read on your own to find out. Here we are, chapter 15. You ready? We're going to do the first 6 verses.
All right, I'm ready.
Lee has this ginormous Bible.
You can probably see it from your sofa right now. Just saying.
She forgot to bring her Bible, and so she got one of ours.
I mean, you can either go big or go small or
Is
go
it King
home.
James?
I go big.
Is it King James?
I
What is
don't.
it?
Oh, it is. Oh, even better.
Even better.
Okay.
All right. I'm reading the New Revised Standard Version, but if
Better.
you see something in there that...
I will be sure to call it out.
All right. Here we go. Chapter 15, Genesis. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great. But Abram said, O Lord God, what will you give me? For I continue childless. And the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, You have given me no offspring, and so a slave born in my house is to be my heir. But the word of the Lord came to him. This man shall not be your heir. No one but your very own issue shall be your heir. He brought him outside and said, Look toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to count them. Then he said to him, So shall your descendants be. And he believed the Lord, and the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. All right. Keep that up.
I can't open it back up.
I'm going to set our
Maybe.
timer
Okay.
in keeping with the short nature of Simple Worship.
Which is not easy for either one of us.
It's not. We talk for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Before we get into it, I want to know how the King James reads chapter 6.
I thought it was King James. It's not. It's NIV.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
What does verse 6 say? He believed the Lord. And
Well,
how does it read?
I got to find it again. Hold on.
Because while you're looking that up, I looked it up in the Message, because that read strange to me. He believed the Lord, and the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. The Message says God declared him set right.
Is that what it says?
That's what the Message
Set right?
said. But this says reckoned it to him as righteousness.
Lord Shane, I can't find it again with all
That's
these
all right.
Roman numerals. You want me to keep trying?
Nah,
Okay.
we're wasting precious
We are wasting
moments.
precious time.
What is this about? Tell me your thoughts.
I mean, we could take this in so many different directions. One is, and I think I talked about this last time, I'm a big believer in like the raw humanity that is throughout the Bible.
Okay.
Any character in the Bible, what we see is raw humanity. And I think that this is Abraham being raw. I think Abraham is going to God saying, you made promises and you haven't kept them, and I'm tired and I need answers.
Right.
So
He was 75
75.
when he was called before, and had to go on this big trek and start a new life.
Right.
Promised a nation at the age of 75.
At 75.
And nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened. And we're at 99 now.
Well, not quite.
Well, not quite. That's right.
But still, I mean, years have
He's
passed.
wanting answers.
Mhm.
So I think there's that raw human vulnerability of being able to be our whole selves with God, and to see that played out all the way in the Old Testament.
He whines a little bit.
Very wise.
You know, you promised this, and now one of my servants is going to get all my stuff because
Right.
I don't have any kids. And you
Well-
promised me kids.
You promise, and I want my kid.
Hmm.
But I think what we see in that is that God doesn't yell back. God doesn't get angry. God doesn't show God's own power saying, excuse me, know your place. What we see God is enter into conversation and a relationship with Abraham and say, calm down. It's not time yet. Trust me, believe in me. It's not the right time. So instead of getting angry, we see God enter into relationship.
I was a little judgy toward Abram
Were you?
when I said that
Yeah.
about him whining, because I think I would be whiny too.
100%, which is why I relate to Abraham in this. If I'm going to be in relationship with God, then I need God to know my whole self. So I appreciate the fact that we can see Abraham being a little whiny,
Hmm.
because it allows us to be in touch with what we're really feeling.
Okay.
Say more. That's what you're going to say, isn't
Uh-huh.
it? I know Shannon way too well. Yeah, I mean, I think if I am in relationship with somebody or with God in my own spiritual walk and faith, if I put on a front and I'm not being my whole self and not naming what I feel in the moment, then I don't feel like I can enter into any covenant with somebody because I'm not bringing all that I am. And so I think this is Abraham bringing all that he is to the table and being able to say to God, this isn't right. I'm done now.
Mm.
And then God can take that and say, let me reframe that for you. You're on your timetable and I'm on mine. So it's
Right.
almost a reminder that, we're all on God's timetable. It doesn't mean that we can't be upset with the timetable or name for ourselves when it's not working for us.
Well, and there's something to be said in this time
Mm-hmm.
that we find ourselves in with patience.
Man. Right?
I mean, nothing has moved on the timetable that I would like.
Mm-mm.
And I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
But I think that's the beauty of the Old Testament, is that what we're going through seems new to us, but this is not necessarily new.
There's nothing new.
There's nothing new here. It's just new because we don't know how to handle it, and we're in a world that tells us now.
Mhm.
Fix it, fix it, fix it. And God is one patient God.
You know what else stands out to me?
Uh-oh. I wish I had my Bible back open. That's on
Well,
me, y'all.
you've got plenty of Bible.
I
mean,
it's going to take me a while to go through it.
what stands out to me is how God, it's almost as if God takes Abram by the hand. It doesn't say that, but it says he brought him outside.
Yeah.
Which is a very loving thing to do. I mean,
Tender.
it's a person,
Yeah.
It's not a voice or something, but it's here. Let's go outside. I want to show you something. Look toward heaven and count the stars if you're able to count them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I stand outside in my yard in Fort Worth, Texas, I can kind of count some stars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if I'm out in the country
Oh, my
where my
gosh.
parents live, where there aren't lights and, it's really dark,
Mm-hmm.
you really get the expanse of that. I mean, aren't you from a
Oh.
rural area?
Mississippi?
Yeah, but there are
We got
cities
stars.
in Mississippi.
Well, I mean, there's a few. But, yeah, you can see them. But I read this very differently.
How do you
I
read
mean,
it?
I read it as, yes, the vast amount of stars is unbelievable. But God says to Abraham, if you can see them, I think it's about his faith. Do you choose to see the stars? If you choose to see these stars and count these stars, then you're choosing to believe in me because I can make that happen for you. So I think it's a challenge.
Mm.
But I usually approach the Bible with always looking for the challenge.
Well, we might have a translation difference too. How does yours read?
Which
Verse 5?
And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, you shall seed be. Yeah.
Okay. And this translation says, look toward the heaven and count the stars if you are able to count them. But I can see that as if maybe you're not able to right now. Maybe you can't
see.
Maybe you're still so angry with me.
Right.
That you're not able to see what is right there and count what is right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still there.
It's still there. And so what clouds our vision? Right? What gets in the way between the covenant that we want with God and the righteousness that we think we have for ourselves? And that's a tough one, right? Because we can be a pompous people.
Are you saying that we might be self-righteous in
I
some
think
way?
we might be saying we're self-righteous. I mean, if you look at it that way, because it's still God by the end of these 6 verses that comes back and is the one that grants the righteousness to Abraham.
Because he chose to believe.
Yes.
And he believed, and the Lord reckoned it as righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Or as the message said, set it right. He was set right. And isn't that really what we're looking for?
Lord knows it's what I'm looking for.
Well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but that is what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
to be set right. For my belief,
Mm-hmm.
for my righteousness to come granted from God,
Right.
because I chose to believe.
I chose to buy in to something much bigger than myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where humility goes. I think this whole story is a story about grace. Because we forget the power of God. God can totally choose, especially our Old Testament God, to turn around and walk away.
That's true.
And God's choosing not to,
Even with the whining.
even with the whining.
And
Now,
the-
granted, God still, are we still going in Genesis? Maybe I need to come back, y'all. This is fun. We got lots more. I mean, if we get into 16, 17, 18, I mean, we're really looking at what God's people went through.
Right, because if we know that eventually
Mm-hmm.
it comes to pass, but before,
Ooh, 400 years?
But
Something
the-
crazy?
but before the covenant comes to pass with the one,
Oh, yeah.
Abram still doesn't trust
Mm-mm.
and goes off on his own to have a son,
Right.
not with Sarah, but with a handmaid, because still can't, at that
Cannot.
point, was 80 something, I think
Yeah.
we said 86 or something, and was bound and determined, I'm going to make this covenant
Mm-hmm.
come true.
And even in that, God still didn't give up on Abraham.
Right.
God's grace and God's mercy still delivered because it was God that made the covenant, not us. We don't make the covenant with God. God makes the covenant with us. And we choose to believe and live into it.
So it's not a mutual covenant?
I think we, as beautiful humans that we are capable of breaking covenant whenever we choose to break covenant. I don't think God and God's own righteousness would ever choose to break covenant. And I think we see that in the story. Because even though Abraham walks away from what the promise is that God was going to deliver, God still came back and delivered his own promise.
So do you see the beginning of this text to be Abram giving up? Abram, sort of saying, I'm done with this?
I do. Are you kidding me?
No.
That's not good, y'all. Y'all just stick around for a little bit longer.
So, but real quick,
Uh-huh.
that he's done. I know who the heir is going to be. You didn't do it.
I think that's
It's
a complete
done.
confrontation.
Okay.
And I think God enters in and says, just wait. Just wait. I'm not going anywhere. You might choose to go, but I'm going to be right here delivering on the promise that I made. Because that's the God that I am.
All right. Well, I can't wait to.
Woo!
Thank
Are
you.
we? That's it, really?
That's it.
I got more to say, y'all. So just find me on Facebook if you want to come back.
All right. You've got to come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, fun.
All right. Thank
I'm
you,
gonna
everybody.
take my big old Bible and go. Sorry, that was fun though.
That's my image for the week.
Right here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
As a matter of fact.
Are we gonna take a
Well,
picture of
Yeah,
it?
and I'll post it on our social media.
Hashtag Alice
How
in
about that?
Wonderland.
Yeah.
Lee and Shannon Land.
We better go, or we'll be
Bye.
here all day. Bye.